Welcome back to Character Construction, where we play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Now for today's build, I went with none other than Lord Raiden himself. So some goals for this build are simple. We need to be the Lord of Lightning. You are the God of Thunder and Lightning in your realm. Next up, we gotta have teleportation. That's like one of your main abilities in Mortal Kombat. Next up, we gotta be able to replicate some of his godlike powers, including power of flight, healing, and the ability to kind of see what's going on in the future. For stats, we're going to use the standard point array. Roll of stats you want, just keep your multi-classing minimums in mind. Strength comes in at 10. It's not weakly, but it's not overly important for this build. Dexterity comes in at 13. While you are fairly nimble, you rely more so on your magical capabilities than your nimbleness. Constitution comes in at 12, a little bit lower than I would like, but nonetheless, it still has a positive modifier. Intelligence comes in at 8. I know Raiden knows a lot, but again, it's just not important for this build. Wisdom comes in at 15. You are kind of all-seeing and all-knowing, and being around for thousands of years kind of has its perks. Therefore, you likely have the experience to kind of back it up. Charisma comes in at 14. You have to be pretty convincing to convince people to fight in a murder tournament for you. Starting off with our race, we are going with the Protector Aasimar. You are considered a god or descendant from heaven. Aasimar's gained the ability of Dark Vision. Dark Vision grants the wearer the ability to see in the dark up to 60 feet. Next up, Aasimar's gained Celestial Resistance. Celestial Resistance grants you resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. Next up, they have Healing Hands. As a bonus action, you can heal yourself or an ally with a range of touch, a number of hit points equal to your level. Aasimar's also gained the ability to cast Light as per the Light Bearer feature. Finally, Aasimar's gained +2 to the Charisma automatically, making our Charisma a 16. And since we are Protector Aasimar, we gain +1 to our Wisdom, making our Wisdom score also 16 as of right now. Moving on with our background, we are going with the Sage background. Sage background grants proficiency in History and Arcana. History makes sense. You have been around for thousands of years. You likely know the entire history of Mortal Kombat. Arcana makes sense as well because you likely know a thing or two about magic items and the scheme of magic itself. Now, Sage background also grants us 2 languages of our choice. I'd personally go either Primordial and Abyssal, or Abyssal and Infernal as my choices. Finally, we get the Researcher feature. So you can recall a piece of lore, or if you don't know it, you at least know where to find out information on how to get that said piece of lore. Raiden likely knows everything about Mortal Kombat itself. If he doesn't know the answer, he'll likely know where to find it. Alright, we are moving on to our classes and levels. First level, we are going with Monk. First level Monks gain Unarmored Defense, which allows us to use our Dexterity and Wisdom to determine our AC. Right now, our AC is sitting at 14. Not bad, but could be better. First level Monks also gain Martial Arts, which allow you to use a D4 in place of the damage die for your unarmed strikes or melee monk attacks. Martial Arts also allow you to use your Dexterity instead of your Strength when determining your attack roll bonus to hit. And finally, as a bonus action, you can make an additional unarmed strike as a bonus action after you make a melee weapon attack. First level Monks get proficiency in 2 skills of their choice from their list. We're going to go with Athletics and Religion. First level Monks gain proficiency with 2 saving throws being Strength and Dexterity. Moving on to our second level, we're going to actually go with Sorcerer for our next level. First level Sorcerers have to choose a bloodline. We're going to go with Divine Soul. Divine Soul allows us to get Divine Magic. Divine Magic allows us to choose spells from the Cleric spell list or the Sorcerer spell list. Divine Magic also allows us to choose an alignment. Depending on which alignment we choose, we get a free spell. We're going to go with Good Alignment to get Cure Wounds. Cure Wounds allows us to heal a target as an action, 1d8 plus your spellcasting modifier. Divine Souls also get favored by the gods. When you fail a saving throw or an attack roll, you can add 2d4 to the roll, potentially turning the outcome from a failure into a success, and recharges either once per short rest or once per long rest, depending on which happens first. Now we finally get to choose 4 cantrips. First one, most obvious choice, we're going to go with Shocking Grasp. Shocking Grasp is a melee spell attack, which does 1d8 damage to your target, lightning damage, and if the target's wearing metal, you have advantage on the attack roll, and when you hit with the Shocking Grasp, they cannot take reactions until the start of their next turn. Next up, we're going to go with the Message cantrip. Message allows us to communicate within 120 feet to any target of our choice in the target's mind. Pretty good when you're trying to help some of your combatants cheat a little bit in Mortal Kombat without purposefully intervening. Next up, we're going to go with the Thaumaturgy. Thaumaturgy grants us many effects, which include our voice booming up to 3 times as loud, cause flames to flicker, brighten, dim, or change color, cause harmless tremors in the ground, create an instantaneous sound that originates from a point of your choice, instantaneously cause an unlocked door or window to fly open or slam shut. Finally, you can alter the appearance of your eyes for 1 moment. Pretty good option for RP if you want to scare the living daylight out of somebody. Next up, we're going to go with Gust cantrip. The Gust cantrip does 1 of 3 effects. You can force a medium or smaller creature to succeed on a strength saving throw or be pushed up to 5 feet away from you. You can also create a small blast of air capable of moving 1 object that's no more than 5 pounds. An object is pushed up to 10 feet away from you. But unfortunately, it is enough force to cause damage. Finally, you create a harmless sensory effect using air such as causing leaves to rustle, for example. Now, for our spell choice, we're going to go with Witch Bolt. Witch Bolt is a ranged spell attack that has a range of 30 feet. If you hit, you do 1d12 lightning damage. In addition, on every subsequent turn, if you use your action, you can cause the target to automatically take 1d12 lightning damage, no saving throw required. Next up, we're going to go with Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave is a first level spell that has a range of a 15-foot cube, originating from you, and your opponents have to make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet away from you. On a successful save, they are not pushed and they take half as much damage. Pretty good if you want to not get surrounded by your enemies all the time. Plus, is a great AoE effect spell. On to level 3, we're going to take our second level in Monk. Second level monks gain unarmored movement. So as long as you're not wearing armor carrying a shield, your overall movement speed increases by 10 feet, which applies to both flying and ground movement. Second level monks gain key points which they can spend on Flurry of Blows. As a bonus action, you can spend 2 key points after you make an attack already to make 2 unarmed strikes. Second level monks gain Step of the Wind. As a bonus action, they can spend a key point to either dash or disengage. Second level monks also get Patient Defense. They expend a key point as a bonus action to gain the dodge action. Since we're at level 3, we gain the Radiant Soul. As a bonus action, you sprout a pair of wings which grant you a flying speed of 30 feet. And once on each of your turns, you can deal extra radiant damage to 1 target when you deal damage to it with an attack or spell. The extra damage is radiant, which is equal to your level. And once you use your strength, you can't use it again until you complete a long rest. Moving on to level 4, we're going to take our third level in Monk. Third level monks gain Deflect Missiles. As a reaction, when you're the target of a ranged weapon attack, you can roll d10, add your dexterity modifier, and your monk level to reduce the damage. If you reduce it to 0, you can spend a key point and make a reaction attack as if it were a martial arts weapon. Third level monks gain a monastic tradition. We're going to go with Way of the Ascended Dragon. Way of the Ascended Dragon grants us Draconic Disciple. Draconic Disciple grants us Draconic Presence. This allows us to, if we fail a Charisma, Intimidation, or Persuasion check, you can use your reaction to reroll it. However, once turned to failure to a success, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Next up, we gain Draconic Strike. When you damage a target with an unarmed strike, you can change the damage type to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. We're going to go with lightning for flavor purposes. Next up, we get Tongue of the Dragons, where we learn to speak, read, and write Draconic. Finally, we get Breath of the Dragon. When we take the attack action, instead, we can wail a Breath of the Dragon, which either goes in a 20-foot cone or a 30-foot line. Your opponents are allowed to roll a dexterity saving throw or take 2 rolls of your martial arts die, and if they succeed, they gain half damage. And you can use this equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all uses when you finish a long rest. However, if you have no uses available, you can spend 2 key points to use it again. On to level 5, we're going to take our 4th level in Monk. 4th level monks gain ability score improvement. We're going to use that to bump up our dexterity by 2, making our dexterity 15. Finally, 4th level monks gain slow fall, which as a reaction, when you're about to take fall damage, you can reduce the damage equal to 5 times your monk level, which right now is 20. On to level 6, we're going to take our 5th and final level in Monk. 5th level monks gain extra attack. When you take the attack action, you instead attack twice. 5th level monks gain Stunning Strike. When you hit with an unarmed attack, you can spend a key point to force the opponent to make a Constitution saving throw. If they fail, they are stunned until the end of your next turn. 5th level monks gain a martial arts increase, which bumps up from D4 all the way to D6. Level 7, we're going to take our 2nd level Sorcerer. 2nd level Sorcerers gain Font of Magic. Font of Magic grants us sorcery points, which we can use right now to create more spell slots for us to cast. 2nd level Sorcerers gain another spell. We're going to go with the Shield spell. As a reaction, when you're hit by an attack, you can spend a spell slot to gain plus 5 to AC until the start of your next turn. Pretty good if you're going up against someone who has a pretty high melee attack bonus. Moving on to level 8, we're going to take our 3rd level in Sorcerer. 3rd level Sorcerers gain Mana Magic. Mana Magic allows us to alter our spells. Our first choice is going to be none other than the Quicken spell. When you cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 action, instead, you can cast 2 sorcery points to cast it as a bonus action. Next up, we're going to go with the Heightened spell. You can spend 3 sorcery points to make one opponent roll their saving throw at disadvantage on the first saving throw they make in the turn. Finally, we're going to go with the Misty Step. As a bonus action, you can cast Misty Step to teleport anywhere within 30 feet that you can see. Moving on to level 9, we're going to take our 4th level in Sorcerer. 4th level Sorcerers gain ability score improvement. We're again going to put it to our dexterity, making our dexterity 17. Next up, we get another spell choice. We're actually going with the Cleric spell Augury, which has a casting time of 1 minute, but it can be cast as a ritual. So basically what it does is, if you have a course of action for the next 30 minutes, you get a result, whether it'll be good news, bad news, or both, or nothing. So, the DM will tell you if it's wheel for good, woe for bad, wheel and woe for both, or nothing, and there's nothing that's good or bad about it. However, it does not take into effect any possible circumstance that might change the outcome. Pretty good considering Raiden kind of knows what actions will be good or not. Finally, we get another cantrip. We're going to go with Blade Ward. As an action, you can cast Blade Ward, which grants you resistance to non-magical, piercing, bludgeoning, or slashing damage. On to level 10, we're going to take our 5th level in Sorcerer. 5th level Sorcerers gain another spell, and we can cast 3rd level spells. So we're going to go with Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt allows you to shoot a 100-foot bolt of lightning, and each creature in the line must make a dexterity saving throw, or take 86 lightning damage. Moving on to level 11, we're going to take our 6th level in Sorcerer. 6th level Sorcerer grants us another feature from Divine Soul. We get Empowered Healing. So, whenever you or an ally within 5 feet of you rolls dice to determine the number of hit points a spell restores, you can spend 1 sorcery point to reroll any dice. You can only use this feature once per turn. we get another spell of our choice. We're going to go with Fly. Fly has a cast time of 1 action, but you gain a fly speed of 60 feet, and with concentration, you can last it up to 10 minutes. Level 12, we get our 7th level Sorcerer. 7th level Sorcerers gain the ability to cast 4th level spells, and we get one right now. We're going to go with Banishment. Banishment allows you to attempt to send one creature that you can see within range of 60 feet to another plane of existence. The target must succeed on a charisma saving throw or be banished. Moving on to level 13, we're going to take our 8th level Sorcerer. 8th level Sorcerers gain the ability score improvement. And for the last time, we're going to put into our Dexterity, making our Dexterity 19. But we get another spell. We're going to go with Dimension Door. As an action, you can teleport anywhere that you know within 500 feet of you. 14, we're going to take our 9th level Sorcerer. And this time, we get the ability to cast 5th level spells, but we're going to go with a Cleric spell, specifically Divination. Divination has a casting time of 1 action, or you can be cast as a ritual. But basically how it works is you can ask a single question pertaining to a specific goal or event, and the DM will offer a truthful reply. Pretty good! Again, because Raiden knows the answers, like we know what's going on, so he can predict the outcome. Moving on to level 15, we're going to take our 10th level in Sorcerer. 10th level Sorcerer gain another spell. We're going to go with Telekinesis. This allows us to move objects or creatures with our mind up to 10 minutes with concentration. If it's a creature, they have to be huge or smaller, and then make a strength check against your spellcasting ability modifier check. If you win the contest, you can move the creature up to 30 feet in any direction. If it's an object, the object must weigh no more than 1,000 pounds. We gain another cantrip. We're going to go with Guidance. As an action, you can touch a creature and give them a d4 they can add to any ability check for 1 minute. Once they use the d4, the spell is done. We gain another Meta Magic option. Our Meta Magic choice is going to be none other than the Twin spell. So normally if a spell can only target one creature like Witch Bolt, instead we expend a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level, or 1 if it's a cantrip, to target a second creature. On to level 16, we're going to take our 11th level in Sorcerer. 11th level Sorcerers gain another spell and then cast 6th level spells. So we're going to go with none other than Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning, when you cast as an action, can hit any one creature with a bolt of lightning within 150 feet. After that, 3 bolts then leap from target if they are no more than within 30 feet away from each other. Each creature must make a Dexterity saving throw or take 10d8 lightning damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful save. Moving on to level 17, we're going to take another level in Sorcerer, making our Sorcerer level number 12. We gain an ability score improvement. This time, we're going to put it to Charisma, making our Charisma 18 as of right now. Moving on to level 18, we're going to take another level in Sorcerer. 13th level Sorcerers gain another spell at 7th level. We're going to go with Plane Shift. As an action, you or up to 8 creatures as long as they're holding hands can teleport to another plane of existence. At level 19, we're going to take another level in Sorcerer. We get a new feature. We get Otherworldly Wings. As a bonus action, you spring a pair of wings from the back, or in Raiden case, a string of lightning flies behind you, and you have a flying speed of 30 feet. Now we can pretty much fly forever until we dismiss it as a bonus action if you're incapacitated, or until you die. We can put our last level into Sorcerer. 15th level Sorcerers gain another spell, and we get the ability to choose from the 8th level spells list. So we're going to go with none other than Control Weather from the Cleric spell list. Control Weather has the casting time of 10 minutes. But once that's done, you control the weather within a 5-mile radius of you up to 8 hours. Each change takes approximately 1d4 times 10 minutes to do so for new conditions to take over. It's time to talk about the pros and cons of the build. First, the pros. First pro is none other than movement options. We have teleportation, flying, and we have ground movement speed. Plus, on our movement, we can move even slightly faster than our normal competition. Next up, we have enemy control. With spells like telekinesis, shocking grasp, even banishment, those are great ways to control the zone of combat. With that in mind, we have combat role options. You can play in melee, you can be a spellcaster, you can even be the healer, but you can also be the prophet who can predict what's going to happen in the future. However, there are quite a bit of cons to this build. First off, you have very low HP. You'd only even crack 100, assuming you did the average rolls from the player's handbook. You're cracking around 93, 94. Next up, we have limited damage types. With our spells doing only thunder, lightning, and bludgeoning, not necessarily helpful if you're fighting a storm giant, for example. Next up is concentration. With a low constitution modified, you are likely not going to be able to sustain a concentration check against your spells. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, spread it to your friends.